Welcome, 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 ladies and gentlemen, to yet another edition of What Really Matters NYC with your host, Tony Keevan, and more importantly, you. You can dial in if you want on this live interactive television show with our live screen shot of Times Square behind us. Thank you, EarthCam. And of course, we've got Lorraine on the line, our commentator. Lorraine, you there?
Uh-huh.
Excellent. Nice to hear your voice. And like I was saying, ladies and gentlemen, you can call in at 212-757-1541 if you got anything you want to talk about in New York City. We put a whole bunch of topics up on the screen. Was Mr. Wong right? Should NYC public schools get Asian Lunar New Year off? Should we jail Clapper? Are you going to New Jersey for the Super Bowl? And the State of the Yawn. Okay, I didn't even see the State of the Union, but if you did, you can call us in and let us know what happened. But we've got a guest on the live line. His name is Morgan Fox. He's on the Skype live line, and we're going to talk about something called the Marijuana Policy Project. So I want to see if we can get Morgan up here on the line, on the Skype. Morgan, are you there?
Yes, thanks for having me.
Excellent. So, Morgan, give us a little bit of a background on the Marijuana Policy Project. And the reason I bring it up, ladies and gentlemen, is because I'm really not so knowledgeable about sports, but I know this is connected to the Super Bowl because it's written up in the news a little bit about it. So tell us what the Marijuana Policy Project is, Morgan.
We're the nation's largest nonprofit marijuana policy reform organization, and we concentrate primarily on state and federal lobbying and ballot initiatives to end marijuana prohibition and treat it similarly to alcohol.
So tell us your connection to the Super Bowl, and I hear that there are some ads, and of course the Super Bowl is impacting all of us, ladies and gentlemen. We'll get to some of that traffic impacts later on in the show. But you're going to spend some money, and you're going to have some billboards on Interstate 78, on Route 495, on the Lincoln Tunnel West, on Routes 1 and 9 North, and near Interstate 80. So tell us, what are those billboards about, and what's your message here?
Well, coincidence or not, both of the states that made marijuana legal in 2012 have had their teams go to the Super Bowl this year. And we thought that this was a great opportunity to both educate the public about the fact that marijuana is safer than alcohol, and to ask the NFL to stop punishing its players for using it, particularly if they want to use it for medical reasons. I mean, the sport that they're playing is very dangerous, and far more dangerous than responsible consumption of marijuana. And we wanted to use the fact that this is the type of event that is looked at by a lot more people than might normally be watching the news, and really get this message out to them, to show them that there's absolutely no reason we should be arresting adults for using something that's safer than alcohol.
So tell us how that plays into the NFL, though. I mean, are you seeking to change the commissioner's stand, and what is his stand? And tell us what you hope to achieve out of this cycle of advertising during this weekend, I guess.
Well, just this morning, our Director of Communications, Mason Tavert, delivered a set of petitions with over 12,000 signatures to the NFL Commissioner, Roger Goodell, asking him to review the marijuana policies of the NFL and to stop acting like they're a law enforcement organization, particularly in states where players are allowed to use marijuana legally by law. And hopefully we're going to get some sort of response from that soon. Because, I mean, particularly in states where it is legal, there's absolutely no reason for the NFL to be interfering with players for using something safer than alcohol. And this is particularly true when you consider all of the alcohol advertisements that keep the NFL afloat, especially during the Super Bowl, and the fact that the NFL certainly wouldn't punish somebody for drinking a beer after a game or after a practice. So, again, there's no reason for them to be punished for using something that's far safer than alcohol.
Hey, Lorraine, you got any questions or comments?
Well, I was just wondering if there's any data about how sports are using drugs more than the average population.
I'm not sure of any data that exists, but I recently heard that an estimate of the number of NFL players that use marijuana during the offseason is about 50%.
Well, that's not that much, really. I guess that could be the general population, too.
Well, the general population, it's actually a much smaller percent of people that are current marijuana users. That's actually right around 6 or 7%.
So do you think that it actually helps their performance?
Well, it certainly isn't a performance-enhancing drug, which is another reason why the NFL shouldn't be publishing players for using it. But it has a myriad of uses for dealing with chronic pain and the type of injuries that football players receive. And the NFL has no problem with them using dangerous and potentially highly addictive narcotics to treat those injuries, but it won't let them use a much safer alternative.
Is that because it's not supported by the medical professionals?
Well, medical professionals around the country support using marijuana for a wide variety of medical purposes. Mm-hmm. It's just that the doctors that the NFL are using apparently are just wary to touch this issue for political reasons.
So let me ask, if people go to your site, mpp.org, can they sign a petition or get involved somehow?
Absolutely. We have several change.org petitions going on right now dealing with a number of different issues, and there's a myriad of information to find out why we need to end marijuana prohibition and start treating it similarly to alcohol.
Okay. Well, listen, we're going to let you go, Morgan. Lorraine, you got any final question?
Well, I was just thinking a way to really make this whole issue go away would be if the pharmaceutical companies would make their own grade of marijuana. That might really move it very quickly into the area that you would like.
Well, there are already pharmaceutical companies addressing this issue and developing cannabinoid medicines, but that doesn't mean that we should continue arresting responsible adult users for doing something that's safer than alcohol.
It doesn't, but oftentimes we live in a world of complicated comings and goings and lefts and rights here, but we'll get through it, I suppose, right?
I'm very interested to see how the debate progresses. More and more Americans are starting to realize that prohibition is a failure, and politicians are slowly catching up to this idea. So I think we're going to see a lot of really positive change in the law in the near future. Yeah, and I think the tax revenue is going to incite a lot of politicians as well. Listen, Morgan, we're going to let you go. We thank you very much for joining us, okay? And you take care, and good luck with your ad campaign. Who are you rooting for, by the way? I did a little research. The Seahawks or the Broncos? Well, I have a lot of friends in Denver, but my dad lives in Seattle, so really I just want to see a good game.
Okay. Okay, good answer. You take care. Thanks so much for joining us, all right?
Thank you.
Okay, cheers. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks, Lorraine, for helping out on that interview. You asked really good questions.
Well, I don't know, but I mean, I just think that maybe if the pharmaceutical companies had a stranglehold on the marijuana supply, and if they were the ones dealing it or selling it all over the country, I don't think there'd be this many questions.
Probably not.